Good morning. Good morning. And all the people said, that's great. Welcome to this service of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Grand Traverse. Welcome also to those of you joining us on live stream. I'm Dave Newhouse with your Sunday Services Committee. Now, if you're visiting us today and willing and able, would you stand and introduce yourself, because Chris is racing for the back door to grab a mic so that you can introduce yourself and we can all say hi.
Good morning. I'm not new, but I want to introduce my sister-in-law, Susan who is here from California, Central California, Lompoc area, and I'm just really glad that she's here. Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Susan?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jacqueline Dugan. I'm from the Traverse City area, and this is my first time here today. So thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Brad Sherrill, and this is also my first time here today.
Welcome.
I'm Mike Potter. I've been here before, and I really appreciate your services. And my sister Debbie is visiting from out east. So.
Welcome back. Okay. So we invite you all, visitors and old-timers, to join us after the service in the social hall for refreshments and conversation. There's a yellow mug, and that'll identify you as a visitor so we can get to know you. Now, sharing our joys and concerns helps us stay connected. And you can record them in this book to my right, your left, there, okay. And you can also light a candle of remembrance or special care or thoughts. Your notes will be shared later in the service by our congregational care team. Now, today we welcome Reverend Chris Lane to lead our service. You may have met him when his wife Jane Lippert led our service a few weeks back. They live in Manistee with two feisty daughters, he says, Hannah and Rachel. He volunteers at a youth drop-in center, getting to know men at a prison near town. And apropos of today's sermon, he volunteers watering a grove of giant sequoia trees that were planted at the historic Lake Bluff Farms north of Manistee. Ordained in the UU tradition, Reverend Chris has served several congregations over 40 years. He started when he was 8. Including the psychiatric hospital where One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was filmed. So Jack Nicholson will be joining us later. Now, today, Reverend Chris explores with us how the divine encounters us in natural spaces, under the title, John Muir, Earthy Prophet We Need Right Now. Now, Muir, this naturalist, eco-advocate, convincer of presidents, ecstatic holy man, has always been one of my environmental heroes. He, too, outgrew the Orthodox religion of his family and childhood, and he found an ecological, mind-expanding spirituality in the divinity of nature. So come along on this journey. Later in the service, there's a handout in your order of service on the wilderness wandering. And Chris will introduce us to that for an after study, okay? So as we start the service this morning, please set aside the distractions of daily life. Set your phasers to stun, so we can bring our full attention to this time together. Now, we have a special treat today. We're going to break from the order of service, and we have special centering music brought to us by Meg F. Morganfield, who came all the way from Arizona just to do this, okay? And apropos our title today, again, she will perform Breath of Trees.
I have been among I have been among these leaves as long as there've been trees. I am the breath cascading, cascading. I am the fuse of the dawn. I am the breath cascading, cascading. I am the roots growing strong. I have been among these leaves as long as there've been trees. I have been among these leaves as long as there've been trees. I am the breath cascading, cascading. I am the fuse of the dawn fire. I am the breath cascading, cascading. I am the roots growing strong. I have been among these leaves as long as there've been trees. I have been among these leaves as long as there've been trees. I am the breath cascading, cascading. I am the fuse of the dawn, the dawn, the dawn. I am the breath cascading, cascading. I am the roots growing strong. If it's in your heart, you might join in. This is the last time through on the last three words. I have been among these leaves as long as there've been trees. One more. I have been among these leaves as long as there've been trees. Last time. I have been among these leaves as long as there've been trees. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm delighted to be with you. I bring greetings from my life partner, Jane Lippert, who would have come with me, but she was serving as liturgist at the local Congregational Church in Manistee this morning. I don't know about you, I'm a big one on breathing, not just because of the nice piece. We take breathing for granted. I have found in my life it is a way to bring myself into the present moment a little bit. So, as our opening moment, would you just take 3 deep breaths? Gift your body with oxygen on purpose right now. 3 deep breaths. Consider that there was breath as you slept last night. There was breath to fill your lungs as you swung your legs over the side of your bed or cot or sleeping bag or wherever you were, but there was breath for you. There was strength enough to stand up. There was the beauty as you drove or rode a bike here to see green things, assuring you and me that life will go on. For these next moments, this next hour, my hope is that we would let a historical figure, John Muir, long dead, reanimate just a little bit and whisper in our ear something we need to hear about this earthly life. May it be so.
Please join us in reading our mission statement on the back of your order of service as we light the flaming chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Oh dear. That's the covenant. Okay, we'll do the covenant today. Okay, sounds like a plan. Okay. Okay. All together. I'm accountable for me. You're accountable for you. In community, we hold each other through joy and conflict. We openly welcome all as we respond to the needs of the world. So may this flame, symbol of spiritual awareness since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us. And now we sound the singing bowl, entering a time of stillness.
Would you please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn from our teal hymnal, number 1068, Rising Green.
We're privileged to sustain this congregation and its work by giving. that brings our mission to life, touching those within our walls and reaching out beyond. We give in love and in hope as we're able, knowing our contributions are used mindfully. Now, the baskets that will be passed have a red side for community needs and a blue side for sustenance of this congregation. And other ways you can give are shown on the slide. You can mail a check here. You can give via the UUCGT website or the Venmo app, the Vanco mobile app on your phone or iPad, or you can make your arrangements with your bank and they just send the money every month. So designate your gift as you choose for this congregation, for those in need, and for fulfilling your annual pledge.
Hello. My name is Ann Swaney. I'm a member of the Congregational Care Team here. I've seen, if there are others of the care team, would you stand up and, or at least raise your hand and let us know you're here? I see Millie and Carl is here. And, and over there, oh yes, I thank you. Connie, is that who that is? Okay. We've now come to the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns.
It is our practice as a religious community to set aside time in our service to name and honor the joys and concerns that mark our lives, the milestones and moments of our lived experience. I will be sharing the joys and concerns that have been offered up for us to hold in our hearts today. If you have a joy or concern that's a bit too heavy to share, I invite you to reach out to Reverend Alex or to the Congregational Care Team. Look for the light purple ribbon at the bottom of their name tags. If your joy or concern is still raw and tender, we invite you to hold it on your heart as you are held in this loving community. None of us is meant to travel life's journey alone. And so now here's what's been shared with our gathered community. There's a short happy joy, and there's a very long anonymous concern that is serious that you need to listen to. The joy, this week, this is from Dave and Mary Newhouse. This week will be our little girl Callie's 5th birthday. I think Callie may be a dog. She gives us, she gives us joy and exercise every day. And then here's the concern. Please pray for all victims of domestic violence and sexual trafficking, especially those who are suffering the torture of post-separation legal abuse in the Grand Traverse County court system, and whom the Women's Resource Center and the Traverse City Police Department refuse to protect. They include many women and children who you would never suspect as victims of domestic violence, and they are not safe.
O great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. With our eyes helping us be present today, I'd like you just to casually look around your neighbors. You have permission to look into each other's eyes here a moment. Do that. No speaking, just notice. Now I'd like you to notice something green. Beautiful altarscape here and the green that's outside your lovely windows of this sanctuary. Notice something green that's announcing life. And now could you notice something, maybe the flame would help you, something invisible or something transcendent that's beautiful and so supremely loving that grounds us in this earthly existence. Just notice. It is here. It is abundant. It is renewing us even in this moment.
Please join me in singing our song of response, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. come to me, come to me.
John Muir, some called the Dollar Scot, born in Scotland in 1838, grew up in Wisconsin, attended college briefly, and he botanized every chance he could get. Now, he spent most of his life in California, where his intense observations deepened his understanding of the natural world and called him further into nature. He learned that when one tugs at a single thing in nature, he finds it attached to the rest of the world. When he entered a grove of giant sequoias, the largest trees in the world, he wrote, "The king tree and me have sworn eternal love, and I have taken sacrament with the Douglas squirrel and sequoia blood." Now, Muir's passion led him to being instrumental, as I said, a communicator with presidents, in creating the National Park Service, Redwood, Sequoia, and Yosemite National Parks, and the Sierra Club. And he instructs us, keep close to nature's heart and break clear away once in a while and climb a mountain or spend a week in the woods and wash your spirit clean. Climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees. The winds will blow their own freshness into you, and the storms their energy, while cares will drop off like autumn leaves. He famously said, "In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks." Just to set the stage for Chris's sermon today.
I just want to offer one correction to Dave's generous introduction of me a few minutes ago. I did not serve in the UU tradition. It was the UMC, United Methodist tradition, and I thought about it, but I didn't think I was smart enough for the UU. That's for you, Reverend Alex, as you're listening online today. I want to welcome you to what I hope is an inspiring and a grounding few moments together with you. Your service has already blessed me, and hopefully it has blessed you and opened you to something greater and deeper. I hope in these just next very few minutes to share a little bit of historical teaching, but also get into a little bit of preaching with you. And I hope that what I have to say stirs a sharp curiosity in us all around the life of John Muir as way-shower. For me, this stubborn Scotsman, this ecstatic holy man, this cutting-edge environmentalist is easy to love. After all, he's known for being a champion of saving California's Yosemite Valley, as Dave referred to, and elevating it to become not just a state park as it was initially, but a national park, as well as other parks. And in doing so, preserving a wildness that in every year since to this very moment, allowing millions of us to be immersed in jaw-dropping wonder and awe. As I say, he's easy to love. After all, he's known as a composer of soaring language, lyrical language about the land, being this living, wisdom-speaking teacher. We heard Dave reciting a couple of his better-known quotes a moment ago. I mean, who can riff better on spiritual ecology than John Muir when he says, "I only went out for a walk and found that I need to stay until the sun went down, for I found that in going out, I was really going in." It's like he's repeatedly confessing his love affair with great mystery, who keeps showing up in the trees and water and wild raging rivers and even in the stones. Jane and I camped in Yosemite several years ago. And while there, we visited this little theater that's nestled in the middle of Yosemite Valley for this one-man performance that we'd heard about. It was titled An Evening with John Muir. I thought, wow, I thought he'd been dead a while. Let's go see this. It was featuring the actor Lee Stetson, who portrays Muir's voice in Ken Burns' amazing documentary series on the national parks. Anybody seen that series? Good. If you haven't, go to the library as soon as we finish here, check it out and watch it. It is a spiritual experience. In that portrayal, not only in the documentaries, but in what we saw on the stage that evening in Yosemite Valley, actor Lee Stetson does all his talking as John Muir would himself, with deep voice and Scottish brogue. Yeah, I was a fangirl. It was a great thrill, and it cemented my high regard for Muir as an earthy prophet for our time as well as his own time. But let me say, I am not here to put John Muir on a pedestal of sainthood. For like all prophets, he was also quite imperfect and human. Let's put that out there. It must be said that Muir at times spoke and wrote in the racist tones so prevalent in his day, disparaging his brown-skinned neighbors as being lazy or not knowing very much. The Awanichi people who populated the Yosemite Valley long before European Americans showed up knew much about the land and its cycles before we did. It is said of Muir that years later, years after he wrote so prolifically of the Yosemite and the groves of the big trees, he married and he managed this large family farm. And in time, he fell into a depression. He lost his vigor, and his health started to decline. He took on a cough that he just couldn't shake. But his perceptive life partner and spouse, Louisa Strenzel, encouraged him to take a long trip to Alaska, to get his blood going again, to rekindle some sense of purpose in his life. He thought about it, and he agreed. But to get to Alaska's wild interior, he had to depend on Tlingit Indian guides to canoe him to the very heart up to Glacier Bay, hundreds of miles in a canoe, mind you. And that trip not only began to heal his spirit, but it began to shake his deep-seated racism. Nights sitting around the fire of their camp, Muir and the Tlingit guides and a few others, the guides began to talk about creation in more expansive and reverential terms than any of his white associates. They asked Muir why he would not think that Brother Wolf possesses a soul, just like the rest of us. They made him think. In today's language, you could say they challenged his white supremacy. No different than us, you and me, Muir needed much liberation from the white bias that plagued and still plagues our country since its beginning. Why, the Sierra Club, which he founded, has had to reckon with this contradiction in recent years in their founder. Ecologically progressive, racially repressive, and I'm glad for their honesty. It allows us to see that this complicated figure from history, with all his pitfalls, so that with our eyes wide open, we can still appreciate this nature wisdom that he still conveys to you and me. I appreciate Reverend Alex and your service planning team here at UU Grand Traverse for allowing me to riff on this theme. For John Muir is as much a spiritual confidant and springboard for me as he is a promoter of the national park movement. People need places to play in and pray in is perhaps his one-liner that's a favorite of mine. People need places to play in and pray in. I took a solo pilgrimage a few years ago, got in my car, had my bicycle on the back, and I went over to Wisconsin with the goal of seeing the farmland where young John and his father immigrated to a farm in northern Wisconsin, awaiting his mother and the rest of the siblings to immigrate later and join them on this new farmland. The farm buildings are gone now, of course. But I could see where pasture lands and farm fields were around this particular pond where it had been pointed out. It was on that farm where young John was under the wrath of his father, a punitive religious zealot, part-time lay preacher, part-time farmer. This father was known to force young John to memorize large portions of the King James Bible, or John would be punished. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a child's motivation for memorizing a page, a chapter, an entire book of Bible verse to avoid punishment? Is it any wonder that he would have to deal with his own rigidity and prejudice later in life? Well, despite what we would now call religious trauma, John managed to make it to manhood, leaving the farm as well as his father's abuse. It is known that he fled to Canada for a time to avoid fighting in this country's civil war. And once the peace was secured at Appomattox, he returned to the States to embark on this vision quest of walking across these United States toward the South. Now, here's where something very interesting starts to happen. An epiphany ignites. No, it explodes in this young man coming of age, now in his 20s. For he discovers while walking how the divine is speaking through the land to him if he will just have ears to listen. And for my remarks this morning, this, for me, this point right here is the aha that we can take from his story and his life path, hopefully to let it awaken our own life path, to see nature as a teacher of divinity. First, let's notice how John Muir, now he's a young adult, begins to fall in love with nature's intricate beauty, with great mystery in the land, most notably in California's Sierra Nevada mountains. And he finds God to be this playful, intricate artist who paints on a palette across millennia, which is a far cry from the demanding judge God that his father tried to force feed him. Now, this is no small thing, because it could have gone sideways. Muir could have closed his heart to wonder, but he did not. He was drawn into a dance with the divine, despite the rigid, forced goose-step allegiance coerced on him as a boy. Friends of this UU congregation, is this not some of your stories as well? You are here, perhaps more liberated, more enlightened, more expansive, more curious in your quest to embrace an inclusive divine love in this world than perhaps you were taught. Or do you have a friend who's made a larger holy space in themselves than what culture has taught them? If so, can we say amen? Amen. Good, I'm glad that pulled off, because I wasn't really sure if you say amen much. But this is sure a reason to. And John Muir models this as much. He models this as soon as he leaves the old world for the newly claimed world of divine nature, or what he calls the grandest tabernacles, and what he also calls the green scriptures. And soon enough, he becomes like some evangelist telling the world the good news. He writes prolifically. At one place he writes, "Heaven knows that John the Baptist was not more eager to get all his fellow sinners into the Jordan River than I to baptize all of mine in the beauty of God's mountains." His is a mysticism akin to Rumi or Emerson. As he writes further in another place, the quote we heard earlier that says, "The king tree and me have sworn eternal love, and I've taken sacrament with the Douglas squirrel and sequoia blood. I wish I could be more tree-wise and sequoiacal, so I could preach the green-brown woods to all the juiceless masses." The juiceless masses? How do you like that? To the over-industrialized masses of his day, and to the over-digitized, disconnected masses of our day, perhaps we've all lost our juice until we get outdoors and linger and give awe a chance to bubble up, cell phones disconnected. But Muir didn't just crack open a deeper spirituality, a greater mystery, a vaster God in creation than the God of his childhood, as important as that was. He also became a fierce advocate for saving wildness and wild places. Said another way, Muir teaches us not to be mere consumers of beauty, but rather witnesses and champions who protect wild beauty. John Muir considered forests to be sacred spaces of contemplation and quiet, yeah. He wanted them treated as national treasures, and he argued that to government. He wanted to see it protected by the army, these parks, with logging and grazing and hunting prohibited. Now remember, this was the beginning of the 1900s. Rapid westward expansion, forests being leveled as farmland, mining, logging, railroads, all the rest. And there was a great debate going on in our country at the time between the likes of Gifford Pinchot, who was the professional forester hired by our federal government, who had this utilitarian view of managing wild lands by harvesting and extracting everything that they have to offer civilization. Then there was Muir and the Sierra Club, and their view that humans should be preservationists, not utilitarians. Sound familiar? Of course, this debate lives on in 1,000 places for us today. Whether that's the mission of land conservancies, putting land in trust rather than in subdivisions, or the threatened return of coal mining under this current administration, or Line 5 gas lines being buried in the Straits of Mackinac. Well, I have to tell you, for the most part, Muir did not win this debate. Pinchot and the Department of Agriculture and the Forestry Service did. Sometimes there were agreeable compromises along the way, sometimes not. And this debate on how best to steward land and water does not go away. It is as fresh as our federal government reducing budgets in national parks and so many other conservation causes. If you in this room are someone who gets worked up to preserve wildness, because I hope you are, then take inspiration here. Muir saw the necessary marriage between nature as a space to play in and pray in, and our need to be loud and bold about saving wildness, using our influence and resources to keep wildness set aside for all time. I do appreciate how in the UU tradition, seeing this link, delighting in nature and defending nature, is an easy marriage for you to make. It's core to who you are. Your seventh principle as a denomination goes, respect for the interdependent web of all existence for which we are a part. Respect for the interdependence of all creation, all existence of which we are a part. Do you know that? I'm sure you all have that memorized, right? Well, that's straight out of John Muir's prayer book and playbook. I say keep it up. We need your witness. We need your influence. We need your advocacy. Last time I was here, happened into your library. You have some wonderful sections on spirituality and ecology, and I really enjoyed picking up Rachel Carson's book on a number of writings that she did since Silent Spring. I promise you I'll return it today, but this was a great piece that might pick up on what we've talked about so far. So as I wrap up, I hope you will walk out of here today holding on to these twin takeaways that John Muir is giving to us. One, that in wildness is where we encounter a deeper, larger, intimate encounter with the divine, who meets us in places often beyond words, and who helps liberate us from past trauma. And then the other point, we are to be more than mere consumers of beauty, but defenders, loud, open to protest and lobby, both for ourselves and others. Finally, I got a little bit of homework for you. You probably saw this little insert. I'm not going to walk through it, but I do want you to know it's here. This is a spiritual exercise that I want you to try out this week. Comes from the work of Bill Plotkin. I don't know if you know who he is. Really a founder of the Animas Institute. Very interesting guy. Like Muir, he sees nature as a great wisdom teacher. So I ask you to take this little exercise, and I'd preferably have you do it this afternoon. It's a beautiful day. Maybe you want to wait until it's cooler this evening or tomorrow, but definitely this week. Do not throw this away. I want you to do it. If you can get over self-consciousness about talking to a tree or a stone, something amazing might just happen for you. I've entered this exercise in the woods several times, and I always feel the richer for it. I learn something every time. But in this moment, as I close, join your voice to mine. I'd like you to riff on this chant that I spoke a little bit earlier in the service. It goes like this. We're going to do it 2 or 3 times. I'd like you to enter in. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Come in. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Let's bring it home. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me.
One more time.
Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Did we do it enough for it to become an earworm for you? Because that was my goal. Beyond words, Let's be still and quiet just a moment to let what needs to sink in, sink in. Amen. Namaste. Hallelujah.
You know, we keep thinking of how do we shift from the sacred to the profane. And now for something completely different. Just for you Monty Python fans. Okay. Now, if you happen to read The Flash, you'll recognize some of this news. If you haven't read The Flash, you should. Jackie and the team do an excellent job at giving us all information. So, planning ahead. Seed programming for children and youth with Chelsea Bentley will resume in September. Reverend Alex returns officially on September 7 for our immersive water communion. And we have publicity opportunities. The UU t-shirt is being redesigned, with a new version having the UU values on the back. Do we have the, no, I guess we don't. Okay. Hold on, it's coming. Hold on, it's coming soon. Okay, so we need 10 more orders to make this work. But nobody told me who you got to contact. Who do you have to let know? Jackie. Okay, let the office know you would like to wear your UU values on the street and proudly display them to everybody. And then, in addition to reading the Flash, you can keep informed. You can log on to UUCGT.org, and right there on the front is the calendar and justice tabs, so you can find out what's going on here. Plus, you can go into the social hall where Ann Swaney keeps the Social Justice Action Team calendar up to date all the time. You can see what's coming, our group and everybody we're allied with. And you can share your reflections on worship. Please check on, right on that website, the online worship journal. It's right on our webpage. Tell us all, especially Sunday Services Committee, what part of our service touched you, we hope in a good way, and inspired you. So those are the announcements for now. And so we're going to lead into the closing song.
Did you forget the ice cream?
I forgot. It right fell into my coat. Okay, last announcement. There will be an ice cream social. This is the weather for it. Okay, August 17, 1 week from today, after the service in the social hall, sponsored by the membership committee. I'm sorry I forgot.
For our closing song today, would you allow the sounds and the music to flow through you? And if you feel so moved, you can join us with either humming, singing, moving, whatever moves you.
As the service ends, go, transformed in faith. Perhaps not the bold kind called for to move mountains or save mountains or rivers or forests like John Muir, but a quieter sort that calls us to take the first step, even when the whole trail seems incredibly steep and rises beyond our view. As we stride toward the unseen, firm in our convictions, may we notice the way unfolding as we risk traveling it. May we remember and trust that we take none of these steps alone. So we release this flame, sending our light and our hope and our transforming love into the world. Let it be.
Would you stand for the blessing benediction? I'll leave you with a few words inspired by the great poet Wendell Berry. Love this world and love the Holy One who has made it and is making it still. Every day, do something that doesn't compute. Work for nothing. Love someone who doesn't deserve it. Plant sequoias even when you know this life is brief. Be joyful though you've considered the facts. And above all, practice resurrection in your living. Go in peace.